Raymond. Empower your purpose.
Well, good afternoon. I am here with the head of our Salt Lake City office of Raymond, Gus Rabito. Gus, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Chip. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. So you came in a few years ago through the merger that brought to us our Orlando office. Um, Really interested to hear a bit about your background, your education, where you grew up, all things that led you to us in Orlando, and then talk a little bit about how you went from the land of alligators and Disney to Salt Lake City with snowboarding and all the things that are different up there. So maybe we can start off just a little bit by tell us about your background a little bit, high school, college, the education. I think you've got a little bit of a different alternative educational path with some of the computer science pieces.
So grew up in Orlando, Florida, went to school there, elementary, middle, and high school, and then stayed in the state to go to Florida State University. Did my undergraduate in accounting and finance, and then did my master's of accounting with concentration in audit and advisory, and then also got my MBA with a concentration in business analytics. And then while I was in my MBA course, also took and passed all of my CPA exams, and then coming out of school, started with RSM, which was at the time the Big Five. I'm sure they're still top 10, not exactly sure what they are now, focusing more on Raymond, but started with them and was with them for about a year, and then switched over actually to Vestal and Wilder for a month until got the merger with Raymond, which I've been with them for just over 3 years now.
That's a good bit of the education. I think you've also got some pretty other interesting stories. What's your golf handicap?
That I'm not sure. If I knew, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd probably see me playing on Sundays, especially with my dad and taking it a little bit more seriously. But if I play consistently, I'd say in the 80s, but every once in a while, there's some bad holes out there that really don't do me too good. I'm shooting in the 90s. But out here, which is really nice, the first time I moved to Salt Lake and played, I made a joke because I played really bad. I was like, you know what? At least the scenery is really nice, and I don't have to worry about looking around for a gator or something's going to grab me near the water here. So that part's a lot better.
Excellent. So talk a little bit about the work you did at RSM and then coming into Vestal and then Raymond. How did you come up in your career?
So in RSM started out in audit. Majority of my clients were actually public clients, and the first one I worked on was a large orange grower down in the Fort Myers area. So that was a really great hands-on experience working with public sector clients. And then it just led its way onto that. Did a lot of manufacturing clients as well that the Orlando group at RSM had a big footprint in. So I was able to work on that. And then after a year, I kind of figured that audit wasn't really for me. Didn't really want to spend my life as a career auditor and really just enjoy more of the financial analysis type stuff that I was able to do on my public work that I was doing with RSM. And actually found out that Vessel and Weiler was hiring for the position that I'm currently at right now. So reached out to a couple of people at the firm, got some interviews, and then able to get the job. And then here I am now with Raymond.
Fantastic. There's a lot of recovered auditors in the consulting group. I'm one of them myself. So coming into Vestal and then Raymond, you've been involved quite a bit in a lot of different levels of valuation work. Talk about the most frequent valuation projects you find yourself on.
Majority of the business valuation stuff that we're doing is for estate and gift tax work, not necessarily any specific industry. However, we do work a lot with dealerships, just primarily because the Orlando office, where two of the five people in our group sit. We have a pretty big dealership heavy industry there, and we get a lot of internal referrals from the people in tax, and we do that. But there's also a ton of various industries that we work on right now. Like specifically, one that we're working on is a vape industry,
Mm.
and they're dealing right now with all the tariffs and can they even get their products into the US and trying to deal with that. and talking to them through the various options of the valuation and the things of that nature. But it's been great coming into Raymond just for that aspect. There's not like, here's your industry, this is what you're doing, have fun with it. It's been really nice to get exposed to various industries, various company sizes, and things like that.
Fantastic. So the valuation projects, are they estate planning? Are they litigation support? What sort of purposes are the valuations typically for?
Right. Yeah, there's a ton. A lot are state and gift tax purposes, a lot are litigation support, buy sell purposes. It really kind of just depends. I would say primarily we do a lot of estate and gift tax. Hasn't been on the top of everybody's mind. That's slowed down a little bit. And it's been a lot of litigation work recently and a lot of buy sell too. But really just all over. Nothing in particular, but
And so as you've been working on the estate and gift tax side, as you mentioned, with the passing of the big beautiful bill that reset some deadlines and some pressure that folks had to get valuations done got relieved a little bit. So I understand that the estate and gift tax side is perhaps less hot than folks thought it was going to be, as the previous statutes were going to phase out here at the end of the year, and there was going to be maybe a rush of people trying to get those accomplished so they could gift as much as they could. Um, on the litigation support side, I know you've been involved on the litigation support side from the valuation piece. So maybe talk about that first a little bit. So that's the sort of thing where there's a dispute, right? And in the middle of that dispute, some facts have to be determined, or some opinions have to be rendered around how valuable a business is. Maybe it's a couple of partners where they're dissolving and there's a buyout agreement or a divorce, and they're trying to figure out how much the business is worth for settlement purposes. Talk a little bit about your process for that, and especially contrast that with the gift and estate tax type work.
no. I would say majority of the work is one and the same. We're valuing a business, valuing a subject interest, whatever it may be. But really, what it comes down to is in the litigation support, we're really, really focused on the scope and what's going on, making sure we have a clear understanding of the client, their needs, the full picture of what's going on, who may be suing who needs the work done, what exactly it is that we're trying to figure out. But it's really all in the same. So we're going to be talking to the client, gathering the necessary financial information that we're needing, balance sheets, income statements, any appraisals on real estate, buildings, equipment, things of that nature. And then talking to the client, we typically will send out request lists and things like that, asking the client just for some general background of the industry, the company, kind of just getting us up to speed of what's been going on so we have a better and clear understanding and things to look at when we're doing our analysis and research. And then after we've gathered the initial data, we'll start to input it into our models, come up with some more questions. And then typically that's when we get to dive a little bit deeper. We'll have calls with the client and say, we've noticed X, Y, and Z has been happening. Do you have any insight as to that? And that's really when we can start peeling the onion back and getting to the clearer picture of what's going on. And then especially in the litigation support too, it helps us out a lot because typically the client will say like, oh yeah, the building, I own that, but I don't own the machinery or whatever. When really it's like, okay, you could be getting a piece of this, and then trying to help them out. And then hopefully uh, they can get some more money at the end of it or not have to pay as much depending upon which side of the coin they're on.
Gotcha, gotcha. So let's transition a bit into the litigation support that's less valuation and more analytics and forensics. You had mentioned your business analytics side. I know you're a graduate of Raymond's Chief Operating Officer Excel group with Stephen Bland and whatnot. And some of the work that you've been doing has been taking some of the technological tools, I think Data Snipper, maybe IDEA, certainly Excel, maybe some of the AI tools themselves, and trying to analyze large amounts of data and produce reports, and really try to do what used to take a huge amount of manual time and automate the process. So maybe talk about that a little bit. Maybe you can start with some of the projects where you've just had huge amounts of bank statements, for example, and you've had to collate that and automate it.
Yeah, it's actually a project that I was helping on in the trip group with Chantal, where she had thousands of pages of PDFs that were bank statements, and she needed to extract them all in order to slice and dice and figure out what was going on. And was able to use IDEA and throw all the PDFs in there, click a couple buttons, and then in a couple of minutes, it spit out in Excel exactly how it needed to be presented. So it saved, honestly, probably weeks of time instead of manually going in or even using Data Snipper going through and snipping each page individually. So that was just one example. But then using the macros as well, which I learned in the COO Excel class, I've been able to leverage that in the model that we use. So a lot of repetitive tasks are now able to be done with just a click of a button that I was able to incorporate. And then Data Snipper too, use that a lot in the trip in this CIS groups that I'm working on. And it's really just been great to be able to leverage all the tools that, I've been able to learn. And then Raymond is really keen on, everybody being able to learn it and be able to utilize it to be more efficient and get the job done. So just all those programs that you mentioned, I've been able to use at pretty much full force on the variety of the consulting group. And it's been really great to be able to be a resource and to help out and help the job get done more efficiently.
So it sounds like a nice
Good, nice comment.
combination of the technology, AI is certainly involved with all of those things, a little bit of machine learning with the macros and robotics, and then all of the data analysis pieces. So I think, one of the things we've been trying to figure out is, what is all this technology going to mean for the industry? Is it going to get rid of people? And it doesn't sound like it's going to get rid of people. It sounds like it's going to empower people. Is that sort of what your take is as well?
I agree. I mean, I think that it's definitely a tool to be used, but I don't think it's a tool that's going to be replacing anybody. Because to my understanding, I mean, it may change, but you still need to know what it is that you're trying to extract it. Because if you just throw the PDFs into IDEA or Data Snipper or Excel, whatever it is, it's just going to sit there. You need to still be able to understand the programs, understand how to leverage it, pull out the information that you need to be able to strip it out. And still, sometimes when you throw whatever it is into those programs, there's still some cleaning up at the end that needs to be done. So I don't think anytime soon that the user is going to be replaced by any of these programs.
Yeah, I think we talk about it as becoming digital professionals. And what that means, I think, in this case is, we're able to be very efficient for clients. Again, not very long ago, as you mentioned, we'd have had weeks and weeks of huge amounts of hours manually combing through these things, perhaps keying them into Excel. And we have this set of technologies now that has taken care of a lot of that. Again, you got to figure out what you're looking for, but the system can do the looking, and so it becomes extraordinarily efficient. It's better for the clients. I suspect probably more satisfying for you to do it this way than spending weeks and weeks pouring through PDFs with highlighters.
Great. Yeah, it's so much more satisfying just being able to, jumble all the PDFs or whatever it is, throw it into Idea or the other program, click a couple buttons, wait a couple of minutes, and then able to get it out in Excel. Then I can really start the analysis of it and putting all of my schooling and all the other experience I have to work instead of having to wait and do all the mundane tasks of trying to get it out of the program into Excel or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I can see even lighting up just a little bit as you talk about it. So it's good that it's satisfying. Good that it's you feel like you're winning, right? When you are able to
Yeah.
do this stuff. Yeah. Well, great. Well, let's transition a little bit to Salt Lake City. So, you're a Southern Florida guy working on uh, orange growing operations and dodging alligators and snakes at the golf courses, and yet you now find yourself, not quite a Midwesterner like we are, but kind of that far west, high mountain individual where you get those huge variations in temperature, snow comes and goes fast, and all those sorts of things. We joke a little bit about your extreme sports and looking for you in the Raymond helicopter, jumping out onto the ski slopes with your snowboard and all that, which is maybe slightly exaggerated. But tell me about the reality. Tell me about the experiences out there and really the draw. Because I think a lot of the draw was that kind of the experiential side, right?
Exactly. So moved out here with my current wife at the time, girlfriend, and we both just really enjoyed the outdoors. In Florida, it's pretty flat, tough to go snowboarding or hiking or anything like that. And we're always traveling to go do those things. And we just looked at each other one day and we're like, oh, you ever thought about moving? We're like, yeah, where are we going to move to though? All we know is Florida and the flat. And so started doing some research and then made our way out to Salt Lake City and it's been awesome. I mean it's been a great experience, super fun, ton of activities to do outside and inside. Not everything is just extreme, doing double backflips off of a helicopter or anything like that. But definitely enjoy, the outdoor activities, the snowboarding, rock climbing, hiking, camping, pretty much anything outside. Tried to do. It's a beautiful scenery out here, just surrounded by mountains. A lot of great people and a lot of really great business people I've been able to meet out here as well, which has been nice because able to do a lot of networking events at the rock climbing gym, which has been really fun, and trying to hopefully get some snowboarding buddies soon too that can do some networking as well.
I suppose it's a whole different level of networking when you're actually that support person on someone climbing up or down a mountain.
Yeah, it's a lot easier, especially when you're doing top roping, which is when you're tied into a harness and then you're controlling them. It's a lot easier to get the terms you want on a deal, I would say, if they're up and you're holding the rope on them.
I imagine you probably have draft engagement letters with you every time you go climbing just for those sorts of moments.
Yeah, I hold it out. I was like, I actually have a pen right here. Right when you come down, I can you can sign it.
Perfect. So it's a little facetious, but it has been a good experience for you as you've started to get involved with some of the organizations. What are some of the trade organizations that you've started to poke around in a little bit?
Definitely been talking to a lot of bankers and attorneys just because we, as the public accounting firm, deal with them a lot. And there's what's been great about coming out here is nobody knows who Raymond is, which is a pro and a con. And it's been nice because, I'm kind of the face of Raymond in Salt Lake City, which has been really good. I'm able to say, we're a public accounting firm, we do X, Y, and Z, and here's why we're different than a typical accounting firm that really just does audit and tax. This is where Raymond comes into play. And it's been exciting. It's been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of great success, a lot of speed bumps along the way as well. But overall, it's been a great experience, a lot of fun, and I think that it's going to continue to produce fruit in the future.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know we've been extremely impressed with the work that you've done out there and the chance that you've had to get to know folks all over the place. Um, so I think, we're really excited to see, sort of how the Salt Lake City office continues to grow and how you continue to grow along. What's next in your career?
Definitely, I want to continue to grow my network out here, continue to move up to manager, then senior manager, and then principal in the future. But ultimately, right now, just my next step personally is to work towards manager and then bring some more referrals in right now. I've only been able to bring in one, but I'm hoping in 2026 able to at least bring in a handful, if not more.
Well, I'm sure as people get to know you, they'll be just as impressed as we are. Well, Gus, thanks so much. It's been a nice quick chat, getting to spend a little bit of time getting to know each other better and chatting through just a little bit of your background and whatnot. Maybe to wrap us up, um, other than things we've talked about, what can you think of that's the most interesting thing about yourself?
Most interesting thing about myself. Hmm. I would say a fun fact now, because typically when you do icebreakers, they say, okay, two truths and a lie or something like that, or tell us a fun fact. Mine used to be coming from Florida. I've only seen snow one time. Now living in Salt Lake City, that's a little tough. I see it pretty frequently. But let's say a fun fact for me now is just got married back in June, and which is also another positive about Raymond. They allowed us to take 2 weeks off to go enjoy Europe and Italy and everything. So that's kind of my fun fact now, able to say that.
Fantastic. I think that the wedding actually took place on that trip as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, I got married over there and honeymooned. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Gus, thank you very much. Appreciate your time this afternoon. Look forward to
Yep,
talking to
thanks,
you
Chip.
more.
Thank you, Chip.